Hi everyone, in today's episode we are exploring PTSD. And in this video you will learn why PTSD is not a disorder, it's your body's way of adapting to life's threats. And once you understand that trauma and PTSD are intelligent behaviors of your nervous system, that they're keeping you safe, then we can begin to heal and not just fix. I'm Marna Kathleen, I'm a Liberation Mirror. And as a former mental health professional, I've worked with people from all different walks of life, struggling with anxiety, depression, trauma, and PTSD, and much more. And here's what I learned. When you look at somebody's full history, it's almost always trauma manifesting as symptoms that are isolated and then diagnosed. See, most people were told that they have PTSD, but they weren't even told what PTSD actually is or how to address it. So let me tell you about how PTSD develops through a story of something that happened to me. When I was in my 20s, I was setting up for a rock climbing route when I slipped on a mossy rock and I fell off the edge of a cliff. And at the last second, I grabbed a branch and I swung there, suspended over a very deep canyon. My friend saw me and came over and grabbed me and helped me stabilize on the rock and pulled me up. I'm really lucky to be alive. That was a traumatic event and a life-threatening situation. But here's where the PTSD crystallized in that experience. The person that I was with didn't understand trauma. And this is not to blame them. Most people do not understand how to respond to a traumatic event. What my body needed was to cry and shake for as long as it needed to cry and shake for, because that's the intelligence of my nervous system discharging that traumatic energy. But the person I was with, in their own ignorance, thought that I needed to get back on the horse and pushed me to climb again before the trauma had left my body. And me, in my own ignorance, pushed down my body's intelligent response to keep them from being angry. And that's exactly how the PTSD was created in my system, by not allowing the energy to discharge in its natural way. And for years, if I stepped on a slanted rock or a slanted surface, I would feel panic and anxiety. I didn't make the connection for a very long time. I just thought I was having random panic attacks. But really, it was my nervous system responding because it didn't get to complete what it needed to do, to shake and cry, and then wait to get back on the climb for my confidence to come back. So I'm going to share with you 5 really important points to understand about PTSD. Trauma is an event. It's a life-threatening event. It's something that shakes us up. And PTSD is a nervous system response to a traumatic event. So PTSD is not a sign that you're broken. The symptoms of PTSD are signs that your nervous system learned how to keep you alive during a perceived danger. Hypervigilance, anxiety, shutdown, sensitivity, these all began as protective responses. They're good. And this didn't happen because you're weak. It happened because your body was adapting. The second point is that your nervous system doesn't realize that the threat is over. PTSD happens when your nervous system continues to see a threat that's not there. And even when your mind knows you're safe, your body may still be reacting as if the threat is present. And this is where logic alone doesn't fix it. It's like a smoke alarm that's still ringing after the fire is off. Because the body needs to get support to know the threat is over. It needs to discharge all that energy out of the nervous system to stop ringing the alarm bells. And sometimes we get that support, and sometimes we don't. But what the research shows just like in my story, that when we don't get that support, that energy lodges in the nervous system and the alarm bells keep going off. So the next point has to do with symptoms. Many symptoms come from the same system, and I'm going to tell you what that means. Anxiety, panic, social fear, sensory sensitivity, disassociation, hyper-alertness. These are often treated as separate disorders, but frequently they come from one overwhelmed nervous system trying to manage too much for too long. So they're not necessarily separate problems. They're different expressions of the same survival response. Next, it's important to remember PTSD is a positive adaptation that's no longer needed. See, at one point, these responses helped you survive. You needed them. We thank them. We don't want to throw them out. But what was once useful can become limiting when life changes. Healing doesn't mean getting rid of all of these responses. It means teaching your nervous system that it's safe now. See, you don't need to erase survival. We just need to update it. And the last point that I want to make is that you can rewire your nervous system through safety, not force. Because the nervous system changes through repeated experiences of safety, not through willpower alone or self-criticism. Small, consistent practices, breathing, movement, grounding, connection, and awareness teaches the body that the present moment is different. And regulation of the nervous system comes from safety, not pressure, when we feel safe. And I'm going to go more into that in part 2 of this video. When we understand PTSD as an adaptive response instead of a disorder, healing becomes less about fixing ourselves and more about helping our nervous system learn that we are now safe. And that is something we can all do. So if you're ready to go deeper into your nervous system regulation and breaking patterns that no longer serve you, check out my free ebook, The Path to Inner Authority. That has the mini change method in it. The link is below. And if you want more learning videos, check out 3 ways to take your power back. I go into what it means to take your power back and how to do it. See you in the next episode.